Hi there. It's Saturday, January 20th. It is currently 18 degrees here in North Georgia. Colder than we're used to. But we'll just bundle up today. So let's jump over and do Proverbs 20 for January 20th. Wine is a mocker, and strong drink a brawler, and whoever is led astray by it is not wise. In the NIV it says, wine is a mocker and beer is a brawler. So, the terror of a king is like the growling of a lion. Whoever provokes him to anger forfeits his life. Don't make the king mad. It is an honor for a man to keep aloof from strife, but every fool will be quarreling. I like that. Aloof from strife. Yeah. It says in the NIV simply, it is to a man's honor to avoid strife, but every fool is quick to quarrel. Right. Avoid strife. Keep your mouth shut. For the sluggard does not plow in the autumn. He will seek at harvest and have nothing. Right. If you don't work, you don't eat. Number 5. The purpose in a man's heart is like deep water, but a man of understanding will draw it out. What does that say up here? The purposes of a man's heart are deep waters, but a man of understanding draws them out. A good counselor can do that, you know. 6. Many a man proclaims his own steadfast love, but a faithful man who can find? Right. Yeah. It says unfailing love in the NIV. Many a man proclaims his steadfast love. That's interesting. But who can find a faithful man? 7. The righteous who walks in his integrity, blessed are his children after him. Right? It's a good one. Set an example for your kids, and they'll do good. Okay? Alright. You be the example. 8. A king who sits on the throne of judgment winnows all evil with his eyes. 9. Who can say, I have made my heart pure? I am clean from my sin. Well, yeah. Who can say that? What's that saying here? Maybe right after you pray. 10. Unequal weights and unequal measures are both alike an abomination to the Lord. Right. Look up shrinkflation on the internet. This is going on right now, and it has been for a long time, but the Lord hates it. 11. Even a child makes himself known by his acts, by whether his conduct is pure and upright. Even a child can dissemble in his actions, though his conduct seems pure and upright. What's that say over here? Even a child is known by his actions, by whether his conduct is pure and right. Right. Means you can tell people by the way they act and by the way they conduct themselves. You can tell if they're nice, mean, pure, upright. It's pretty easy. That's called discernment. 12. The hearing ear and the seeing eye, the Lord has made them both. Right? Everybody's. Love not sleep, lest you come to poverty. Open your eyes, and you will have plenty of bread. That's interesting. Love not sleep. That's one word. I was confused. In the NIV it says, do not love sleep or you will grow poor. Stay awake and you will have food to spare. Right? Do not love sleep. Right? I always like this one. And this goes on everywhere too. Bad, says the buyer, but when he goes away, then he boasts about the deal that he got. Right? And that goes on. Even today, and it did way back then too. What's that over here? Yeah, it's no good, says the buyer. Then he goes off and boasts about his purchase. Right. When you're trying to buy something from somebody, well, it's broken and it's scratched and it's not in very good shape, and so I'll give you less for it. And the guy says, okay. But then you go away and you go, look at this great, beautiful thing I got for this cheap price. I really took this guy. And God doesn't like that, okay? 15. There is gold in abundance of costly stones, but the lips of knowledge are a precious jewel. Some of these are weird. Oh, yeah. This says basically, there's plenty of gold, there's plenty of gold, there's plenty of jewels, but lips of knowledge are a very rare and precious jewel. Okay? That's true. 16. Take a man's garment when he has put up a security for a stranger, and hold it in pledge when he puts up security for foreigners. Right? It's about co-signing, guaranteeing other people's loans. And he talks about that a lot. Enough to where it should be noticed. Okay. If you're gonna guarantee somebody else's loan, get a collateral. Okay. You give me this, you give me your guitar, and when it's paid off, I'll give your guitar back to you. Otherwise, I'll keep it, or your whatever, something. That's a security, stranger. 17. Bread gained by deceit is sweet to a man, but afterward his mouth will be full of gravel. Right. What's that say over here? Food gained by fraud tastes sweet to a man, but it ends up with a mouth full of gravel. Right. 18. Plans are established by counsel. By wise guidance, wage war. That's kind of important. Huh? Now, our current person in the White House just attacked a country, Yemen, without getting authorization from Congress, which is basically treason. Okay, did not have wise guidance. So there you go. It's happening right now, or not happening, as the case may be. 19. Whoever goes about slandering reveals secrets. Therefore, do not associate with a simple babbler. Okay. I'm kind of harping on this stuff because, you know what? It's important. This is gossip. Whoever goes about gossiping people's secrets, don't associate with those simple gossips, busybodies, tell-alls. What's that say? I bet it uses the word gossip over here. A gossip betrays a confidence, so avoid a man who talks too much. Well said in the NIV. What's this? Simple babbler. One who's simple in his lips, or somebody that talks too much. Don't hang out with those kind of people. Right, 20. If one curses his father or his mother, his lamp will be put out in utter darkness. Get that? Honor your parents. Always. Yeah. Here's some. You don't need much proof to find this. An inheritance gained hastily in the beginning will not be blessed in the end. Okay. When kids, their parents spend their whole lives working and saving and leaving an inheritance for their kids, and Some kids, I know some people that have been left enough money to live comfortably for the rest of their life, okay? And just live comfortably, but no, they go out and buy big cars and big houses. And within a couple of years, they're broke. They had to sell off all this stuff for a fraction of what they paid for it. And now they're having to go back to work and slave in an older age because, the inheritance that their parents spent 50, 60 years putting together for them, they have wasted it. So that's why a lot of people use trust accounts now. If you have a lot of money, it's good to leave a trust account to your kids so they only get a certain amount each year, so you can force them to be more frugal. 22, do not say, I will repay evil. Wait for the Lord, and he will deliver you. This is really important. Never say, I'll get even with you. Okay? Wait for the Lord, and he will do the work. Okay, what's that say over here? Do not say, I'll pay you back for this wrong. Wait for the Lord, and he will deliver you. Right. A lot of people do that. There's more of the weights. Unequal weights are an abomination to the Lord, and false scales are not good. Shrinkflation. A man's steps are from the Lord. How then can man understand his way? Get that? What does that say over here? 24. A man's steps are directed by the Lord. How then can anyone understand his own way? Right. How can you know where you're going? The Lord is directing your steps. Okay? Do I know where I'm going? What's going to happen tomorrow? No. The Lord's directing my steps, so I don't worry about it. And he says, don't worry, all over the Bible. So, okay. Let's highlight that just so we can peruse by it again, huh? It is a snare to say harshly, it is holy, and to reflect only after making vows. Well, now this one's important. They word it kind of strange here. Over here it says, it's a trap for a man to dedicate something rashly and only later to consider his vows. Okay. Yeah. You could go into a lot of detail on this. Okay, I'll look at it again. A trap for a man to dedicate something rashly. You call something holy, and then, publicly, and then later on, find out you were wrong. 26, a wise king winnows the wicked and drives the wheel over them. Wow. Yeah. Now they use these kind of things a lot in here because one of their main production things back then was wheat, and they would cut everything and pile it up together, and then they would take a pitchfork, or winnowing fork they call it, and they would pick it up and shake it, and that would shake the wheat from the chaff, right? And then they would blow out and they would blow on it, and all the chaff and the straw and the stems would blow away, leaving the seed. Then once the seed was there, then they would put that in the mill wheel and grind that into flour. And the act of taking the chaff and or the covering and the stems and leaves away from the seed is winnowing. And they use that a lot for wicked. You get a whole group of people, and there's bad people and there's good people, and a wise king knows how to winnow them or separate them out. Okay. 27. The spirit of man is the lamp of the Lord, searching all his innermost parts. Breath of a man. What's that say over here in 27? The lamp of the Lord searches the spirit of a man. The lamp of the Lord searches the spirit of a man. Okay? A human have their own spirit. We are We are triune beings made in the image of God. We have a body, we have a soul, and we have our own spirit. Besides the Holy Spirit that comes in, we have our own spirit. There's a human spirit, and people talk about the human spirit. And the human spirit is the lamp of the Lord, searching all its innermost parts. 28. Steadfast love and faithfulness preserve the king, and by steadfast love his throne is upheld. 29. The glory of young men is their strength, but the splendor of old men is their gray hair. Right. Glory of young men is their strength, the splendor of old men is their gray hair. It's hard to get. You earn that, right? By making it through all this other stuff when you're young. And 30. Blows that wound cleanse away evil. Strokes make clean the innermost parts. Wow. Blows and wounds cleanse away evil, and beatings purge the inmost being. Right? They used flogging as a method of punishment back then a lot. And it was quick, it was over, it didn't kill them, but it hurt like crazy. You didn't have to feed them for 6 months while they sat in jail, for certain things. You learn your lesson, we're going to beat you, and if you do it again, and most times they didn't do it again. So, that's Proverbs 20 for Saturday. We can go over our highlights here. We highlighted 3. It's an honor for a man to keep aloof from strife, but every fool will be quarreling. Right? When people say stay out of trouble, that's what they mean. Stay out of trouble. Just keep away from that stuff. Right? Keep aloof from strife. Or avoid strife, it says here. Just avoid it. Avoid those kind of things. Okay? Highlighted 6. Many a man proclaims his own steadfast love, but a faithful man who can find? They're out there. Not easy to find. Highlighted 7. The righteous who walks in integrity, blessed are his children after him. Right. Set the example. So, I remember my father was always very poor, but he was a very hard worker. And whatever job, he was a mechanic, whatever job he worked at, everybody liked him. So I could go anywhere where my father was and say, that's my dad. And he's like, he's an amazing person. I've never seen such a hard worker, honest, hard-working man. He's a good man. And it made you feel good as a kid if your father was like that. If you don't have a father like that, be a father like that. Okay, 10. Unequal weights and unequal measures are both alike an abomination to the Lord. Right? Shrinkflation. That's what they call it now. 11. Even a child makes himself known by his acts, by whether his conduct is pure and upright. Even children are known by their acts. More so adults. 14. Bad, says the buyer, but when he goes away, then he boasts. Or the buyer says, this is no good, it's junk. Then when he goes away, he says, look at the deal I got on this beautiful thing. Right? Went on thousands of years ago, and it still goes on today. Right. 15. I can paraphrase this. There's plenty of gold, plenty of jewels, plenty of silver, but the lips of knowledge are a precious jewel. Right? Knowledge and wisdom are worth more than all the gold and stuff. Remember that. Number 16. Take a man's garment when he has put up security for a stranger. Right? And hold it in pledge. Means take a collateral. You're going to get involved in somebody like banks. Okay, banks are putting up security for strangers. So what do? They take a collateral. They put a lien on your house. They put a lien on your car. If you're buying a car from from a dealership. I mean, the bank is an outside party. They're the one that's putting up security for a stranger. So they will take the title to that car and they will hold that until it's paid off. Okay? And that's what banks do, and this is what people should do too. Okay. 18, plans are established by counsel, by guidance, by wise guidance, wage war. Don't just, That's a government thing. If you're going to wage war, you need to get everybody's okay, not just plow ahead. Whoever goes about gossiping or slandering reveals secrets. Therefore, do not associate with a simple babbler. Or, as it said in here, avoid someone who talks too much. Alright. In 21, we talked about this. An inheritance gained hastily in the beginning will not be blessed in the end. Right? We talked about that at length, and we won't talk about that anymore. 22, do not say, I will repay evil, or I will get even. Don't say that. Wait for the Lord, and He will deliver you. Got that? 24, we highlighted a man's steps are from the Lord. How then can man understand his way? Right? 25. It is a snare to say rashly it is holy and to reflect only after making vows. Right? What did that say in here? It's a trap for a man to dedicate something rashly and only later consider his vows. Yeah. You can say this for people who get married hastily, those Vegas weddings. I met her, she seems nice, and I promised to do this and do this and do this forever and ever, and so you do this in heat of the moment, and then later on, after making all these vows, you wake up in the morning and you're like, what did I do? Not just marriage either, it's lots of stuff like that. So that's Proverbs 20 for January 20th. Learning more and more every time we read these. So we'll keep doing it. I'm just going to keep doing it. Like I said, my goal is to do it for 2 years. And I think we're on like 6 months or something now, so we got a while yet. So that's it. Stay tuned later for Through the Bible in 1 year. We're in Genesis still. And not sure what's happening next. Something to do with Isaac and stuff, but we'll get to that. But anyway, have a good day. Have a good weekend. Stay humble. Stay out of trouble. And stay away from people that babble and talk too much. See you next time.